Hi guys, this is Ranjit and welcome to the second Tech Q&A session for 2024. That's the February edition. And again, I have a bunch of questions that you guys have asked me on Twitter. Let's go about it. And the first question that I got is from Kayuk. He's asking, what are your expectations for Google Pixel 8a and what do you think will be the pricing? I would say, again, it'll have the same processor as the Pixel 8, so the Tensor processor. Again, the build quality will obviously change. This is mostly metallic and glass, but that will be polycarbonate. Another thing is that the pricing, I don't think so. Google is still going to be very, very aggressive as of now until they start making these Pixel phones in India. They won't be reducing the price significantly, so we'll be very close to what it was last year when it was launched, around 45, I would say. If they are just aggressive with if they bring out some good offers, it can be down to about 40, but not expecting anything more, to be very frank. Anyways, moving to the next. This is by Vivek. He's asking an interesting question. What's the best and affordable smartwatch for fitness? I haven't tested all of them, but I would say the Amazfit range is something that I really like. They're not super expensive, but actually have a lot of functionality. I would say you get almost 90% of the functionality of a Garmin, but you're just paying about 30% of the cost. So that way I would say Amazfit is the one I would recommend if someone is on a tighter budget but still wants a good fitness watch. Yes, in terms of accuracy it might be not as close to a Garmin, but does it matter? Maybe you're running 3 kilometers, it's off by 20 meters or something. Does it really matter that much? So yeah, that's what it is. And again, regarding the fitness, a lot of you guys have asked me, this is regarding the video that I had made about 2 months ago. I'm doing actually quite well, guys. In fact, just this last Sunday, I ran my first 10K marathon and it was successful. I completed it well below the time that I had in my mind. So yeah, going strong, and we'll be posting one more cool video regarding the fitness with some of my mentors. It can be interesting, so stay tuned. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Tahir. He's asking, isn't it time when we average consumer should buy a solid mid-range smartphone and live a happy life instead of spending thousands on a flagship for no use of it? Tahir, again, it depends from person to person. I will not say that the flagships don't have a space. Somebody who has that budget of going for the flagship, he wants the best of the best and he can easily afford it. For them, the flagships is right. What I don't like is that people buying flagships just for showing it off because you want that particular logo, or just to look cool, and you're buying it with EMI. That is strictly wrong. I would say nowadays you can get some very good value flagship smartphones. For example, they will have the last year's flagship processor. These, again, just recently we have seen quite a few smartphones with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 SoC, and this is still a very powerful processor, I would say. So you can get them around the 40ish price point, and some even around 35,000 price point. And actually, yes, those actually are true value for money, I would say, instead of the true flagships or whatever, because for them you are definitely paying quite a bit of premium, and it's okay for some people who can afford it. But if you can't afford it and you just want to do that show off because of the logo and something, that's stupidity. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Sanjo. He's asking, which UI do you personally like and why? There's nothing like my favorite UI or something like that, I would say, but I like the new One UI that is on Samsung devices. Very functional it has become. Again, there is no lag or UI jitters or extra that we used to have with earlier TouchWiz UI. So that way, I would say the One UI has evolved a lot. Again, I like, you guys know, I like the stock Android experience. So I like that, and because of that also I like Moto phones because they're very close to close to that stock Android experience, and that way I would say I also like the Nothing Phone UI, because Nothing Phone UI is taking a very nice approach. It's almost close to stock Android apart from some minor modifications. So these are some of the personally the UIs that I like, but again, there's nothing like a favorite or something. Whenever I'm using something like a new phone or whatever, for example, the OnePlus 12, I used it for 10-12 days. I was happy with it. It's just nothing but color OS, so you get used to it. But the the ones that I prefer, as I mentioned earlier. Also, one big thing about me is that a phone should not have a lot of excess bloatware. If that's the case, I simply don't like it. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Dr. Thug. Are the 10x zoom photos better on the S23 Ultra or the S24 Ultra? Also, can we expect a long-term review for the S24 with Exynos 2400? Let's see. I have the S24 with the Exynos 2400, and let's see if I can do a review on this one in the April time frame. Let's give it a time for a month or so, then we will do it. Regarding the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, to be very frank, I no longer have the S23 Ultra, but I have taken a lot of samples with the S24 Ultra even at that 10x, and I did not notice any major loss in image quality or something like that. So I would say even the 10x pictures come out actually good on that one. Yes, those super zoomed shots, maybe that above that 50x or something, might be better on the S23. But again, I would say both for the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, if you are zooming, I will not go above the 30x zoom. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Anil. He's saying, can you suggest me the best Garmin watch for tracking health and fitness in the range of 30 to 35,000? Okay. In Garmin, in that price range, you can have the Vivo series, the Vivo Active series. Those are the ones that you can have a look, I would say. Yeah. Because there are some other series also, if you can go till 40, but those go above 40. But those Vivo series, and some of the new models actually also have an AMOLED screen, so that is the one that you can have a look at. And also Forerunner, yes, this is a Forerunner series also on Garmin. You can have a look at that. That's slightly more rugged, mostly, so that also sometimes in sales come in that price range. Okay, this is by Mritu. He's asking, has the smartphone market stagnated in terms of feature? Even Samsung is stuck with AI now. Mritu, if you talk about the form factor of the smartphones or something revolutionary that's going to happen, no, that is not going to happen. This is a very functional form factor that we have. Even in foldables, I would say foldables is not for everyone. I would say a normal form factor smartphone like this is good enough. And if you just see, the current smartphones are also doing so many things. So the amount of things that this gadget, a smartphone, has replaced is spectacular. It is a combination of 8-9 gadgets. It's a video recorder, it's a camera, it has so many radios. So the amount of technology that we have on this one, but again, expecting some radical changes in the form factor, I don't think so that'll happen, because I actually use the Fold also, but I feel for the most user, a regular form factor, that is a slab phone, is more practical. This is good for people who are very heavy users and they really need that bigger screen. So again, it's a niche. The foldables, I would say, are in a niche category. But AI, again, guys, as we have seen with the Samsung series, the S24 series started this AI thing. And I think so we are in just the start of this AI. This thing is going to change crazily. And I think so in the next 1.5 to 2 years, you will decide a smartphone based on what AI feature it has. And this is going to be changing a lot, because some of the brands will be able to provide some specific extra AI features, whereas some of the other brands will not be able to do it, because the AI processing that is done on the back end is actually super expensive in terms of computing power. So not every brand will be able to provide the same AI. Yes, there will be some generic AI, for example, the Google Gemini or something, the assistant will be changed, so we'll get that. But again, some specific AI features will be differentiated with different brands. And I think so it's just the start of this AI revolution, and you guys are not able to comprehend. This is such a big change, the AI revolution. And in the next couple of years, the AI, what you have on your smartphone, based on what it can do, you will decide the smartphone based on that. It's just going to take a couple of years, but that is going to be the thing. This is by Vishwaroop. Again, this is the EV related question. He's asking, how's the regenerative braking on your Nexon EV Max? You said you're getting better at it. How much of a difference does this feature make in real life? I would say it's a boon. The regenerative braking, whenever you lift your feet from the accelerator, instead of going to the brake, based on the region, the car automatically starts slowing down. So I hardly have to actually use the brakes, I would say. And this also makes you a better driver, because suddenly you won't be tailgating any vehicle that is just behind you, because you know you can get that regen braking. And in fact, it does make quite a bit of a difference in the range. I would say anywhere from 7 to 10% of extra range you can get if you use the regen properly. Now I've got used to the regen so much in my Nexon EV Max. Whenever I drive my BMW, whenever I just remove the feet from the accelerator, I feel, why is the car not automatically slowing down, and I have to use the brakes quite a lot. So in fact, I've talked to a lot of EV users who have clocked in a lot of kilometers, over 60-70,000, and they did not have to actually even change the brake pads, because most of the braking is done by that region, and that region is actually charging the battery. So it's a really good feature, I would say. And I feel regular cars also should have some sort of region whereby unnecessarily you don't have to use the brakes a lot. Okay, moving to the next one. This is by Vipul. He's asking, should I buy the S24 Plus, since seeing some reports that it's not on par with the Snapdragon Ultra chip? I'm not a heavy user. Usage is multimedia, social media, and casual gaming. Vipul, I can easily suggest people the S24 or the S24 Plus, even with the Exynos variant. But the major problem with the Exynos variants of the earlier Samsung flagships was that those Exynos chips were simply not that optimized. They had two major issues: heating and poor battery life. But that is actually completely solved with the new Exynos 2400. In fact, this new Exynos 2400 chipset has performed way better than what I was expecting. So again, for your usage, I don't have a problem. And the battery life that you're getting on the S24 Plus is bonkers. It's just fabulous, I would say. So no issues, I can easily recommend. And also that heating issue is no longer there. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Rushi. What's the main reason companies are choosing MediaTek over Snapdragon for mid-range smartphones? I would say the biggest thing is the price to performance ratio. If you look at it, especially in the mid-range smartphones, the MediaTek chipsets will perform better, and that's a big deal, because let's say a particular smartphone, because it's having a MediaTek SoC, can be priced at 23. If the same company is going to use a Snapdragon equivalent, they might have to spend almost 5,000 to 6,000 more, and that might bump the price to 28,000-29,000. So it moves in a completely different segment. So that is the reason, especially in the mid-range SoCs in India, we are seeing a lot of smartphones in fact moving towards MediaTek. In fact, the new Nothing Phone 2, which was also just using Qualcomm till now, is moved to the MediaTek. That's the Dimensity 7200 Pro. That's the big reason. And the new MediaTek mid-range chipset, at least the new ones, are actually pretty good, because those are actually based on 4 nanometer process. That's why we do not have that typical heating issues like we used to have with earlier MediaTek chipsets. And also the battery life is actually good. This is by Harish. Can you make an elaborate video on DSLR cameras? I believe they will be the next mandatory device for a family. Harish, I'm sorry to say you that, but this is no longer the case. In fact, if you look at DSLR's market, it is going down and down and down every year. Our smartphones, most of the smartphones actually are replacing DSLRs because of the ease of use, and you already have it. In fact, I was looking at the market share of Canon, Nikon, etc., and all are going down drastically. So I don't think so. DSLR is for people who are exclusively, I would say, there is still a market. DSLRs are for people who are real photo enthusiasts and really into that, and that market is shrinking quite a bit. It's not even just about 2% of the market, and that shows in the sales of the big camera companies like Nikon, Canon, etc. In fact, I have a lot of DSLRs. I'm shooting this with DSLR. I have one more DSLR over there. I have one more. But whenever I'm going for a holiday or something, I never carry these DSLRs. But they're so bulky and big. In fact, if I'm going to a holiday or something, I try to take a very good smartphone that has a very good camera. And for 95% of the people, the pictures that come out from them are actually really, really good if you know how to use them. So yeah, that's what it is. This is by HKA. Using a 100 Mbps fiber internet connection at home, he says, during peak temperature around noon, speed drops to about 20 or below. Is it normal? No, that should not happen on a fiber connection, because I have a fiber connection here. I had one more fiber connection in my old office. That's a gigabit connection. And in noon, when the sun is shining, and even what do you say, peak summers, never the speeds actually degraded. I think so. Something is happening to the signal. If the signal, the fiber signal increases also, that also creates a problem. So again, lodge a complaint to your network provider, or maybe the ONT box that the fiber has is faulty or something, because this should not happen. I have multiple fiber connections and never I've noticed something like this, speed dropping just because of it's very hot outside or something like that. Okay, let's move to the next one. This is by John. He's saying, since you have worked in the software industry for a long time, what do you think about the App X? It works well even after Elon fired almost 75% of the people, and they have been shipping new features more than ever. I wanted to ask this as there is a lot of media hate about it. John, I'll give you my personal example, and this is actually a known fact in the software industry. The main core work on most of the apps or whatever big software is done by just about 20% of the people. Rest of the people are just doing, I would say, mundane stuff. I'll give you a practical example. This is almost about 25 years ago. That time I was the project leader in a software company, and we had a new project, but that was a very time sensitive project. We had to complete it and finish it and give it to the client in just 2 weeks. So I was given the whole freedom, and my boss, actually the CEO, allocated 20 people to me for that project. Generally that project should be allotted about 12 people, but he said because it's time sensitive, you can take up to 20 people. But trust me, what I did is that I just took 2 people, me and 2 other people, for that project, because I know those people were hardcore programmers and they really knew what to do. So I could easily divide the task. Okay, I will be handling this part of the project, you will be doing this, and you will be doing this. So we could complete that project, just 3 of us, in 10 days. Yes, after that I actually asked 2-3 other people to just test the build what we have given for bugs. But as you can see, the core of the project, the hardcore coding and whatever was done in what, less than 20% of the resources. So this is how it works even in the software industry. It's a bad known fact, I would say. Okay, let's move to the next question. This is by Siddharth. Pixel 8 or Samsung S24, which one do you prefer and why? I have both. This is the Pixel 8 and this is the S24, and I would say for India specifically, I will go with the S24, and the simple reason for that is the Tensor GPU on this one. The Tensor GPU on this one heats up a lot more compared to the S24. That's why the S24 gets way better battery life and also does not have that irritating heating issues. That's the only reason I would say I would, if I have to buy one from my own money between these 2 smartphones, I will go for the S24. I hope next year the situation with the Tensor with changes with the Pixel 9 series. Okay, this is by Mayank. He's asking, can a smartphone of 35 to 40,000 range can take better photographs and videos than the same price DSLR? Your thought? Again, this is very, very wrong question. Again, it depends on the person who is there. How is that person capable of actually utilizing all the features of a DSLR? Get it right, guys. A DSLR is a complicated thing. And if you're just shooting the video in auto mode on a DSLR, you're not utilizing the DSLR. You're not even utilizing 5% of the features of the DSLR. So to actually get the full from a DSLR, you have to actually use the manual mode. And that's a lot of work, because if you're moving from this place to another place, the lighting changes. You have to adjust the ISO, aperture, and all the parameters manually. But a person who's able to do all that things manually will definitely get way better results than a smartphone. But again, I know many people who buy very expensive DSLRs and just shoot it in auto mode. So it doesn't make sense. And also, big advantage with the DSLR is the type of lens that you use. That makes a huge difference. And some of the lenses on the DSLRs are expensive. I have some lenses that cost over 2 lakhs, just the lens, and forget about the body. So again, it's not a apples to apples, comparison. But on the other hand, I would say a person who knows how to take good photographs, even with a smartphone, can get very, very good results. For example, I'll give you the story about this happened about 1.5 years ago. And this is, Rebel at Class, if you know, Sandeep. Now he's in Xiaomi. We were out and for about 15 odd minutes in a location, and we were just taking some photographs, and in that 10 minutes I must have taken about 15 photographs, and those photographs were average, nothing great, nothing bad, average. But in that 15 minutes, he just took one photograph, and he took a lot of time to gauge the location, where he wanted the photograph angle, and he just took one photograph with that smartphone, and the photograph was just wow. So I would say it depends upon all your composition skills, how you look at it. You have to be that core photographer to get really. I was amazed that the photograph that he took was just from a smartphone. And if you show it to anybody else, that photograph, they would have told, okay, this photograph is taken with a very expensive. So it again depends on the skill level also. So it's not an apple to apple comparison, I would say. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Venkatesh. Which editing software is best for YouTube beginners? I would say if you have a Mac, then the free iMovie software is actually very good. On Windows, CapCut is one that I feel is very easy for beginners. Anybody can just start using it. And I think so CapCut is also free. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Selvan. He's asking, hi Ranjit, even though Motorola is delivering good products, why is everyone hesitant to buy them? Is it mainly because of poor cameras compared to other brands? What's your take on this? Selvan, yes, earlier the Motorola's cameras were actually pretty poor. I would say right now the situation has improved. But again, if I have to say, you can't say the Motorola cameras smartphones are among the top. They're like in the middle ground, I would say. Apart from that, the biggest problem I personally feel from Motorola is that in terms of updates, Android updates, they are super slow. Maybe a particular other brand might get the Android upgrade, but Motorola phone might get after 4, 5, 6 months. So they really need to solve this, because whenever I meet Motorola guys, I always give them this feedback regarding the software updates. You guys really need to pull up your socks. But yeah. But I have recommended Motorola products to quite a bit of my family members who are not too much bothered about the latest updates, but they are more or less happy with the phones because of the stability. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Lalit Kumar. This is a very interesting question. He's asking, since we are moving towards 5 to 7 years of updates as marketed by the brands, should they also include warranty for software updates, especially if phones get issue or get bricked after updates? Because in many cases this is happening. Yes, Lalit, you are very right, and I think so this should actually happen, and the government should actually come into place, because we have seen after COVID there were a lot of smartphones that were just getting bricked or having issues, screen issues, green line issues after OTA updates. So I feel there should be some regulation regarding this when you are giving so much of warranty, and maybe you get 5 or 7, but if you just release a bad update which is not tested properly after 4 years, the phone gets issues, hardware issues, who is liable? So I think so you put out a very valid point. I think so there should be some sort of a regulation or something. If a update actually breaks a phone or something, then the company should be liable. It's like simple like that. You're sending your car for servicing, and in the servicing center, if they damage the engine of your car or something, who is liable? Just think about it. It's the same situation. Anyways, guys, that's it for now for this tech Q&A session. And guys, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Again, some interesting videos will be coming. Yes, we'll be covering some of the new smartphones, but apart from that, also some interesting videos that I have in my mind. So anyways, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.